Hey friends, it's Rachel. In this video, we are not doing any crafting. I am just simply sharing the top 5 must-haves in my craft room and the top 5 that I would not buy again or would suggest to a new crafter who's starting out crafting in the Cricut world. So let's go ahead and begin with my top 5 must-haves. Now, the top 5 must-haves are not in order, so this is not my number 1. I might actually throw in a bonus favorite of mine, but the first thing that I would like to add to the list are weeding tools. Weeding tools are essential to your Cricut crafting world. Without them, it'd be really hard to do your project. I've seen other people use tweezers. I've seen a lot of that on TikTok, where they do a little craft on TikTok, but I don't know how they do that. It's crazy to me, but hey, if it works for you, go for it. I think it's essential to have weeding tools in your craft room. I'm a big fan of Cricut brand. I have a Go to Craft weeding tool, and then I have a Tech Wrap. I have a pin tool, and pin tool is just a really sharp, see if I can get that to focus. I'm sorry if it's not focusing, but it is it's a needle at the edge or at the end of your pen. And this is something that I am not a huge fan of, but I do like it for really tiny areas. I mean, you're talking like, I don't know, super tiny areas that you got to weed out, and this is really useful. But overall, I use my weeding tools on everything else. Let's go ahead and get into the next one. The next thing that's on my list are these paper trimmers. Now, really one would suffice. I have this one for, I'm getting into card making, and I just noticed that the Cricut paper trimmer is really not good on paper, but since this Friskers brand here, it's a rotary blade, and to me this is really good for paper crafting. But if you're not into paper crafting, just a simple Cricut trimmer, or really just any trimmer of your choice. I like this. It's essential for me to craft because I like having straight edges on my vinyl. So as you can see here, I like to have a straight edge so that way I know that this is not, you know, wonky and you know, I'm not sure if it's actually going to fit whatever design that I have on there. So I always like to use my paper trimmer to cut vinyl or to cut, you know, whatever I need to. I like to have that nice straight edge. That is why I included a paper trimmer on my top 5 list. The third thing that's on my list that is essential for your craft room is transfer tape. Which one is the best one to use will come down to personal preference. For the longest time, I used this transfer tape. I absolutely loved it because you can apply it on any type of surface, including paper, and it worked great. However, I came across this transfer tape. I seen it on another YouTuber's channel, and I thought, you know what, I'll go ahead and give it a try. She seems to like it, and I trust her opinion, and I started using this and absolutely loved it. And then I kind of grew to hate it because it has these grid lines. But then, so once I finally finished the roll, I went back to this, and then I realized, you know what, no, I really do like this. And I just decided to make a commitment to myself to take the time and use the grid lines the way it's supposed to, and now I really do enjoy that. So you'll see in some older videos that I will complain about this and I couldn't wait to get done with it, and then I would transition to this transfer tape, and I do like it. I'm still going to use it. This is going to be my backup when I run out and I'm waiting on a new shipment. This is a new roll that I've been using, so it is just a total personal preference. So I did bring out the Cricut brand. Now this is for the Cricut Joy Extra. It doesn't have to be for the Cricut Joy Extra. It could be any type of, you know, for the Joy or for Explorer or Maker, but I do find using their transfer tape useful on their products, especially not so much their non-smart materials, but for the smart materials, I do find using their transfer tape works the best. And lastly, I have this masking tape, if you will, and this is really expensive, but it has lasted a really long time. And this is a light tack it's not so sticky. It's great for paper. Now, I have found that using this one has always worked great for paper, but this new roll for some reason, and I don't know if my roll from the first time I purchased it was just a defective roll, because you know, it worked perfectly and there was some issues with it when I was using it. So I don't know if that one I just got a bad one and this one's how they're supposed to be, but I found using this has really messed up my paper and even some print and cut. Although print and cut will tell you that you're not supposed to use transfer tape, but I'm not about to piece my stuff together, so I do use transfer tape. So I think in the future I'm going to try to move to this. The only downfall of this is it's not see-through, so it makes it really hard to see through the design to be able to center it. So that's one thing I don't like about this, and this is why I rarely use this, but I do have it in my craft room. It's just a matter of using it and applying it. Again, I try to use this one because, like I said, this has always worked great on paper and then print and cut, but unfortunately that hasn't always been the case. So I think I may try to see if this will work for my print and cut or applying it to paper, and make sure that this is always good on paper, but I'm not sure with print and cut. I haven't used it. So instead of using this is kind of going to be my last resort, because this has just been so hard to use on a lot of just to see and center it. Vinyl is definitely on my top 5 must-haves, obviously, because without vinyl I wouldn't be able to craft using a Cricut machine, Cameo, or Silhouette, whatever machine you're using. So which of all the vinyls that are available out there in the world, which one's my favorite? Well, I haven't tested everything, so I really can't give you absolute truth on which one's my favorite amongst all of them, but I will say the ones I have tried is the Tech Wrap. I really love their vinyl, and I have 2 rolls here that I keep to the side of my desk here, because these are just the ones I use white and black quite a bit. And so I keep it to the side of my craft desk just for quick, easy access to them. But I just ordered another black one because this one's almost done, and I'll end up using it a lot for Halloween and whatnot. So I bought another one just to kind of get myself ready for the upcoming holidays. Tech Wrap really is great vinyl. I love it, and I can't really complain about it. I really wish I would have gotten my hands on this sooner when I first started crafting, just because I do think that it's a really good vinyl, especially for those small, intricate cuts. I have not had any complaints. It really does a great job. All right, number 5, I'm excited to show you that, and it's definitely a must-have. If not, it's probably my number 1 thing on the list. I lied. I really do have a number 1, and it's this little girl here. I absolutely love this mini press. It is definitely a must-have. Now, if you work with larger iron-ons, then yes, definitely get yourself a larger heat press by all means. And I really don't have a favorite. I have a clamshell, which is great. I use it less just because I have my YouTube channel, but I will say the best purchase I've ever made, and if this ever were to break, I would buy another one immediately, is this mini easy press from Cricut. Now, I know there's some off brands out there. By all means, try them out. I know HTV Ront sent Lainey Crafted by Lucas, her channel, they sent her a mini press and she absolutely loves it, so check out her video. I'll try to link it below. If I forget, let me know. But I am absolutely loving this mini press. It does so much for how small and tiny this little press is. For those who are unfamiliar, look how tiny it is compared to my hand. I mean, it's really small, but I'll tell you what, it is very mighty because it does a lot of work and it does a great job. So this is definitely number 1 that's on my list. I will tell every crafter that you have to get this mini press because it really does work on so many different projects. All right, now that you guys seen my top 5, let's go ahead and look at the things that I regret purchasing, and you'll actually be surprised what's my number 1 thing that I regret purchasing. This is not number 1 on my list. I will share you that at the end of this video, but one of them that's on my list that I regret purchasing are these rulers. This is the metal ruler, and then this is the Cricut acrylic rulers. Now granted, I don't think I really did purchase these, if I'm being honest. They probably just came with a bundle. That's why I have 3 of them. I would have never bought 3 rulers, and if anything, I might have bought this one and then some bundles came with the other 2. But I just think this is, if you have not not gotten this and you're interested in purchasing it, I think this is a waste of a purchase, because for me at least, and how I craft. Now, of course, if you craft differently, then by all means, go ahead and buy it. But I just think that I have never used it and I just don't find it very useful. I probably should just get rid of them, save a little space in my craft room, especially since I have 3 of them, but I rarely use that. And then of course this metal ruler. So anyways, using this metal ruler, I don't know, I never found it to be useful. I don't think I've ever once used it. I'm almost certain that I did purchase this and I just have never used it. I thought, you know, going back to my good old college days, that I would use this to cut things, and I just never did. So I regret purchasing these two. What I would recommend in your craft room is a ruler like this. Now you can use this, but I don't like this, only for the fact that you got to roll it up and then, you know, if you leave it down, it's just going to unravel. I love these sewing tape measures. I think they're perfect. You can get them at any craft store. You can get them at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. I got this one from Hobby Lobby and I absolutely love it because it's one click of a button and you are good to go. So I really do like this. I use this all the time. If you've watched any of my videos and you've seen me measure, you've seen me use, at least this one's a newer one, but you've seen me use one just like this one, right? So I would highly recommend getting yourself one of these, or one of these if that's your thing. I just don't like having to wrap this up, and I'm just such a hoarder with my craft supplies. I just think I may use it down the road. You never know. And that's true. I have changed over the years of crafting. I have definitely changed how I craft, so I've used things that I've never used before, so that's why. But really, I think I know myself now that this is just not going to be one of the things that I will use down the road. Okay, let's get into the next one that I regret purchasing. Stencil vinyl is definitely on the list of things that I regret purchasing. I bought this stencil vinyl and it's transparent, it's blue, but it's transparent, and I just regret purchasing this. You can clearly see that I've used it a few times. In reality, removable vinyl is just as good as stencil vinyl. If you're a little tight on cash and you want to create a stencil for you, in order for you to paint something on a surface, just use your removable vinyl and it will work just fine. Don't go out of your way and purchase stencil vinyl. In fact, I think this doesn't really work that well in comparison to just regular adhesive vinyl. So I personally don't like this. I really should get rid of it just because I don't think it works that well, and I have tons of vinyl that I don't use, like the color. Now permanent, I would not use permanent vinyl as a stencil because it's more stickier than removable vinyl is. So I would highly recommend just using anything that's not permanent, or of course iron on as well, when you create stencils. So don't go out of your way and purchase stencil vinyl. It's such a waste of money. And again, my personal opinion, you may think differently, and that's great. We can have our own difference of opinions, but I just think that this is not worth the purchase, and I could just use some vinyl that I normally don't craft with, or found that I just don't like the color anymore, or whatever the case is. The next thing that I regret purchasing is a large heating pad. I don't know what my thought process was. I'm sure there was a thought process, but honestly, it's really just, it takes up too much room in my craft room. I have to fold it, which creates this crease in the mat, and it doesn't always lay flat. And I really just think that a simple 12 by 12 mat works perfectly fine for your crafting needs. Again, this is how I craft and what I like to do and what I learned about myself. So if I were you, think about how you craft, and you can just move your heating pad up and down on your shirt or whatever you're ironing onto. I just think that this was just too large. It just takes up too much space in my craft room. And honestly, I would just not purchase this, and I would just stick with this size. This would be plenty big for your crafting needs. Definitely on the regret side of things, purchasing is too much vinyl. I am such a sucker for really pretty patterns and also clearance. You guys, if I were to show you all of my craft hauls, really I only show you just a little bit of what I buy on a monthly basis, but and it's kind of embarrassing of how much I buy, but you will notice that I am a sucker for clearance items, especially vinyl. You guys, we live in a world where things are so expensive, and when it goes on clearance or it gets reduced to a really good price, you got to take advantage of it because it's so expensive out there, right? You don't have to take advantage of it, obviously, but I do, because just this crafting, as you guys know, is so expensive, especially when you get into a new area of crafting. So for example, I'm getting into cards. I never thought I would get back into them, and now I'm getting into them, and just spending the money for stuff to make cards has been so expensive. And so I try to, when I see things go on clearance, I take advantage of it because I don't want to pay full price. So however, in return, sometimes we buy more than we have time to craft, and that goes with vinyl. I buy a lot of vinyl. This is just the tip of the iceberg. It's really the very tippy top. You guys seen my craft room tour. It was posted, I think, back in January or February time of 2024, depending on when you're watching this video, and I plan on doing another one next year because some things have changed since January. Actually, quite a few things have changed, but anyways, I do regret purchasing a lot of vinyl, and that is because vinyl does have a shelf life. Some will actually tell you if there is an expiration date on the vinyl, or it says how long it's good for. I think Caesar Easy Weed vinyl is good for I think it's like 3 to 5 years or something like that, 2 to 4 years. And I don't know what Cricut brand is. A lot of this is Hobby Lobby's brand, the Paper Studio brand, and this is just, there's a little bit I wanted to show you. But anyways, they do have a shelf life. So what I would recommend doing is only buying what you need. Do not buy and stock up. Now, if you're really low on your supply, then yes, take advantage of those clearance items, but really if you don't need it, don't buy it. Only buy it when you need it. And that is what I'm doing now. Of course, I have a lot of vinyl, and I only buy when I'm out of stock of that particular color or that particular style, meaning HTV or permanent or removable, any of those type of vinyls, and then I will buy it. Now, I will be honest, you'll see, I'm not sure when this video will get posted, but you would have already seen it, or you will see that in one of the craft haul videos, I did buy some vinyl, and that's only because I have a Cricut Joy and I wanted to take advantage of their clearance, and I want to kind of create a little stash. So I really don't have a whole lot for my Cricut Joy extra, so I did buy some for that. But anyways, I quit buying vinyl just because I have enough of it. Now, there will be some things that I do have to purchase, like for example, the blacks and the whites. I use them quite often, so when I run out, I'll buy them. But anything else, I refuse to buy any type of vinyl unless I'm completely out of it and I use it a lot. So do yourself the favor, save yourself the money, and don't buy a lot of vinyl just because it's on clearance or on sale. Just wait until you absolutely need it, because what will happen, like I said, it has a shelf life, and then it becomes a little bit, sorry if you hear my dog walking, you can hear, I don't know if you guys can hear her little nails hitting the floor, but anyways, what happens with the vinyl, it becomes not very flexible, and then also what happens is the backer tends to rip off with the vinyl as you're trying to transfer, and also weeding, so that's also an issue. Now, some new vinyl will do that as well. I think it's just a matter of what type of brand you're using, but I will tell you that if you let the vinyl sit too long, it will do that, and it makes it harder to weed. I mean, it's not impossible. I'm willing to deal with it because I made the decision to buy a lot of vinyl, abundance of it, and I'm okay with dealing with that. But if I were to sell, I would not be using older vinyl. I would give the premium vinyl that I have bought recently, and then of course give it to the customer. I would not give that. So okay, so that was my top 4. Let's go ahead and get into the one that I absolutely regret buying. I think you guys will be really surprised to find out what that one is. And the number one thing that I regret purchasing is a bright pad. Now again, this is just my personal preference. If you like it, great, use it. Just for me, I found myself not to use it. One of the main reasons is now I have my YouTube channel, and almost 99% of my crafts are on my channel, and I feel like this would be such a distraction for you guys when I'm crafting, so that's why I don't use that. But also, even before I had my YouTube channel, I found, sorry, the light is trying, my camera's trying to adjust for the light, but I also found that even before I had my YouTube channel, that I didn't really use it a lot. I didn't find it really useful. Now, there may be times where I might bring it out just because it's really, there are some vinyls that are really hard to see when you're weeding, then I'll bring it out. But yeah, I definitely regret purchasing this. But again, if you like it and you use it and you think it's the best thing in your craft room, then go for it. Just for me, this never really worked. All right, well, those are the top 5 that I must have in my craft room and the top 5 that I regret purchasing in my craft room. And I'm going to go ahead and just give you 3 bonus items that I absolutely love having in my craft room. So here they are. Bonus number 1 are plastic envelopes. I absolutely love it. I will try to list some of the things that I've shown in the video in the description box below, and if I happen to miss something or you're interested in it and I don't have it listed below, let me know and I will try to find it for you. But plastic envelopes, I swear, is one of the best purchases that I am so glad that I purchased for my craft room, because this is how I organize my scrap pieces of vinyl. It is so perfect, and I just think that this is such a great idea. I know a lot of crafters like to use folders, but for me, it's like, how do you keep them in there? I feel like they would slip out. So for me, I think these envelopes are the best. I went ahead and label it permanent vinyl. I used my Cricut Joy. I used my pen and wrote it all out with my Cricut Joy. And then these envelopes hold all of my vinyl that I don't know why this one's in there, but I have all of my permanent white vinyl. So they come in clear envelopes, and then they come in colors. So the ones that I have for, and you've guys seen this in my craft room tour as well, and I've spoke to this numerous of times, but they also come in different colors. So where I was able to color coordinate, I did. And then the ones that didn't have a black, for example, it didn't have a black envelope, I went ahead and just used a clear one, right? So anyways, here's that one. And then I have like just different types of grains. So you can further organize this if you want to use a lot of plastic envelopes. You can use shiny permanent green vinyl, and then you can use matte. So if you want to further do that, that'd be great. I just don't have the room to do that, and I didn't want to have to buy more of those envelopes as well. So yeah, so I have pinks, they have reds, greens, they have blues, yellows, all that fun stuff, and then of course the clear plastic envelopes. I just think it's such a good purchase, and it's a great way to organize it. If you want to know a little bit further detail about how I organize my scrap pieces of iron-on, permanent, removable, foil, iron-on, all that fun stuff, be sure to watch my craft room tour, and I go into further detail of how I went ahead and organized all that. The second bonus item that is vital in your craft room are scraper tools. Now you could use a gift card if you're short on cash and you don't have a scraper tool. Use a credit card or use a gift card. It works perfectly. But if you have a little cash to spend, buy yourself a scraper tool. Now, which of the different sets that I like is definitely the silicone. They're really sturdy. I don't know what type of material. I'm assuming it's silicone, but I love this. These are actually from Tech Wrap, and then of course I have my Cricut scraper tools. Now I really do like these, and especially this smaller one. I definitely think that this smaller one is vital in your craft room to have, but I don't know why. I just absolutely love these type of scraper tools. They work great. Sometimes the edge of these can chip, like actually I don't know if you could tell, but they are definitely chipped, and then I'm afraid it's going to scratch my whatever I'm scraping. So this is why I really do like the silicone ones from Tech Wrap. And what's cool about this is it can double as a holder for anything that is round. So for example, I have my little tumbler here. I crafted this in one of my videos a while ago, and if I can remember, I will definitely link it below. But you put it on there, you don't even have to buy a cup holder. That's why it didn't make it on my list, the cup cradle, because I think that if you just get yourself one of these, it will work fine. It's not always going to work right. It's on every single round object you get, but for the most part it does a really good job, and you can just apply your vinyl and you are good to go. So that's why the cup cradle did not make it to my list, because I can just use this just as fine. The last one that is on my list is the Cricut Explore Air 3. Yes, you heard that right. That is my absolute best purchase I've made in my craft room. I have the Cricut Joy, I have the Cricut Joy Extra, I have the Cricut Maker, the Cricut Explore Air 2, and I would say out of all of those Cricuts, the Explore Air 3 is by far the best machine for my craft room. Thank you so much for watching my video. Remember, this is just how I craft and what I prefer and what I not preferred. Every crafter is different. You are going to be crafting different than how I craft, and the thing of it is, you're going to change throughout the years of crafting. How I crafted years ago is not how I craft now. So, and just learn who you are as a crafter. Once you learn that, you'll be able to know what your top 5 must-haves are and the top 5 things that you should not be purchasing. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.